Hello Bibliophiles and welcome to a new literary video. Today we are finally going to talk about It took me a haircut that makes me look like Edna Mode or Anna Wintour or Vector from Despicable Me or Natalie Portman and Leon the Professional. But it took me an entire haircut and a few weeks for me to finally film, edit, and upload this video. So I hope you guys enjoy it because, of course. So October wrap up. This has been my best reading month yet. I say yet because I still have 2 more months left in this year, but I think it has been one of the best reading months. I read 5 books. I read them all on Kindle. I didn't read a physical book this month, and yeah, I won't be showing you like the book. I'll be like, oh, I read this one. So yeah, I mean, in this video, we're going to be obviously talking about the book. We're going to give book title, book author. I'm going to give my star ratings. I'm going to give you a little bit like synopsis of what the book is about and just kind of like my really quick thoughts, okay? So let's try not to make this super tedious. I'll try to rapid fire it. Cool. So the first book I read in October was The Naturals by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. I gave this book 3 stars. This is part of the Natural series, and you may be thinking, oh, 3 stars. So why are you recommending this? Okay, so here's the thing. The first book is a bit slow but fast-paced. So the thing is that it's like, obviously you're getting to know the characters and all that, and so it's like, oh, you know, this, you have Cassie, and you have Dean, and you have Michael, and you have Leah and Sloane, and then you have the agent, and you have Judd, and so you're kind of getting to know these characters, and I loved the mystery in it. I thought that it was, like, really cool, but I believe that who the unsub was very predictable. Very, very predictable to me. I guessed it, and I'm not trying to be cocky, like, oh my god, you can guess plot twists. No, but I will be honest and say that I'm really good at guessing plot twists. But the thing is that I did guess this one, and it was very predictable, but I actually really liked the reasoning and all of it, and I liked this book enough to make me want to continue the series. So basically, you follow Cassie Hobbs. She is recruited by this agent called Agent Briggs, who is the love of my life, to be a part of this FBI group called The Naturals, and they're these teenagers that help solve cold cases and all that, right? Basically, it's Criminal Minds, YA, teenagers. I love it. I love Criminal Minds, so that's what sold me to read these books. I do recommend them, and I will be talking more about the other books in the series later on in this video. I'm currently reading the 4th and final book, Bad Blood. Stop it, okay? Honestly, like the first 12 pages, I was already like, hooked. Second book that I read this month, Coraline by Neil Gaiman. I gave this book 2 stars. So basically I read Coraline, but the graphic novel version about 10 years ago when I was like in 5th grade. And I really liked the graphic version of the book, you know, the comics and everything. It wasn't obviously hard at all to visualize because I had the pictures. And then I read this one. And then again, I mean, I was 10 years old when I read it. So, I mean, I am 20, it's been 10 years. Obviously it's gonna change. I remember giving the graphic novel 5 stars, so this being 2 stars is like, oh my god. It's nothing like the movie. Nothing like the movie. I mean, I think we all know who Coraline is, but basically you follow this girl. She moves to Oregon, and she starts living in this house called the Pink Palaces. It's basically this big-ass house, but it gets like divided into like different rooms, right? So she lives in like the main area of the house, and she finds a secret door, and she finds this other world with another mother, and just like crazy stuff starts happening. So it's nothing like the movie. Most of the things that happen in the book are never even told in the movie. Like the dogs talk. Miss Forcible and Mrs. Spink? Their dogs, they can talk. And Coraline didn't really trust the other mother. I mean, I think she goes there once. I think she goes in there like maybe twice. And then she doesn't like want to go back ever again because she thinks they're weird. So basically, I didn't really like it. I enjoyed the movie. I watched the movie before I read the book, like literally the day before or like hours before. And I was like, this is nothing like the movie. And I really enjoyed the movie. And so I didn't really enjoy the book again. Sorry for all of you Coraline book lovers, but Third book, Killer Instinct. This is the 2nd book in the Natural series by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. I gave this 4 stars. Okay, so hear me out. When I started reading this book, it was super slow. Super, very slow. And this has a completely different mystery than the first one does. And I was like, okay, this is really slow, really slow. And it was in a way a bit repetitive because the first book, like the main family that is kind of used, how do I say this? Because it's gonna sound weird. Cassie, the main character, the first book revolves entirely around her. So obviously every book revolves around her because in some capacity. She's just like the narrator and stuff like that. But the first book is like very much about her mother's murder. And then you have the second book that is about Dean, who's another character in the Naturals. But it is all 4 books are told through Cassie's POV. It's about like Dean's family. His dad was a serial killer, so someone is mimicking the way Dean's dad used to kill because he's in jail now. So that's the second book. And I was like, okay, I think this is going to be like really cool. And it was very repetitive at first, and it was very slow. So you may be asking yourself, why the hell did you give this book 4 stars? Well, I started like just reading it and being like, okay, you know, this might be like a 3 stars because I don't know. I'm not like, it's a bit repetitive. It's kind of like the Naturals, like the first book. So it's just like, I don't know. But then it started getting so good. So we get introduced to this new character, Agent Sterling. She is like Emily Prentice. I like to say she's like Emily Prentice from Criminal Minds. And she is very against the kids being in the Naturals program. She believes that they should have a normal childhood, well, normal teenage years, and not be helping the FBI with cold cases. So she puts a lot of like stops and warnings on the program to like have it be, what the hell was that? There was this really weird noise. Anyways, she puts a lot of like warnings and stops for this program to like not continue, right? Her father is the one that authorized it. Her ex-husband, Agent Briggs, is like the main FBI agent of this group. He created it. So she's completely against it. And that was very fun, kind of like seeing an adult be against it. And you see her reasons and you're like, yeah, they're teenagers. They shouldn't be doing these kinds of things. But because of the lives they led, they came up with these special abilities, right? So Leah, who's one of the Naturals, she is like a human lie detector machine, right? She can tell when you're lying. Cassie and Dean are both profilers. Michael can read emotions, and Sloane is like Spencer Reid from Criminal Minds. She's like amazing with like numbers and statistics and everything. And so the mystery was very fun, and Agent Sterling's like bickering back and forth with Cassie was very fun, but it was like super repetitive. But then I got to like the half of the book and it started changing. It took like a 180 turn. It was amazing. The plot twist, I didn't know who did it because I would be like, oh my God, it's probably him. But then that him had an alibi. Her, and then that her had an alibi. And I believe that this book is the one up to right now, because I'm reading Bad Blood, has the most plot twists. When you think you know what's going on, it changes. When you think they caught the killer, it changes. And you're like, oh. And then I had this theory, and I was like, oh my God, I wonder if like this person is the killer. But then I just continued reading it, and I was like, oh my God, I'm so wrong. And then like the last page, it was so correct. I should have filmed that, I swear, because it was so amazing. But yeah, I really like this one, 4 stars, and the series just gets way better from here. So I do really recommend that if you love Criminal Minds, you should read it. And I realized that I really love YA. So this is YA. If you also love YA, I think is a really great series to read. It's mystery, it's thriller, it's perfection. Okay, it's perfection. This is from the same author that wrote The Inheritance Games. Book number 4, All In, of course, by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. This is the 3rd book in the Natural series. I gave this book 5 stars. This is my favorite up till now. My absolute favorite. Like, you guys have no idea. This book was insane. Okay, I loved it. So it has like Vegas scenery, and I love Vegas. I love anything set in Vegas, like Ocean's 11. It was just so amazing. And the 2 books follow this formula where they, and this, I don't know if this is like a spoiler, so I'm sorry if you guys consider it, but the 2 books have this formula where they catch someone and they make you believe that that person is the killer. And then you have like, I don't know, 30 more minutes until the book ends, because in Kindle you can see how much time you have left till the book ends. And like, boom, it was somebody else. And this one completely changed that. So I was like, oh my God, it can't be this person. And then they switched to another mystery. Okay, so basically there is this serial killer that is killing people in very different ways. So one of them was impaled, the other one drowned, the other one was caught on fire, the other one had like his throat slit. It was insane. So obviously they're like, oh my God, this killer doesn't have a pattern, but all of the victims have the same signature. So they know it's the same person just killing in different ways, kind of to like I don't know, sidetrack the FBI or something. So they go to Vegas, and this book you follow Sloane's backstory, which is so cool. Sloane, who's like the Spencer Reed, she's my favorite character, and she's so sweet and she's so amazing, and that poor girl needs to have a goddamn break. So Sloane, you kind of follow like her backstory and her family and all of that, right? I don't want to spoil it too much, but it does have a completely different formula than the other two books. This one also has a lot of plot twists. Not as many as Killer Instinct, but the few ones that it has, they're insane. When they like catch the killer, well, not this one, when they catch the killer, there's another mystery that just happens. But this is about a serial killer that Briggs and Sterling couldn't catch, and they never caught this killer. And then you like go into that mystery, so you have two mysteries in one, but they're not at all like, oh, you know, it was like super hurried and like rushed. No, they're like very well executed. I really love this one. 5 stars. All in, it is my favorite book in the entire series. My 5th and final book of October, Phantasma. I forgot the author's name, but it is right here in this picture that you will be seeing. When I edit this, I'm gonna be like, oh my god, that was her name. It's Kaylee something. But oh my god, I think this is her debut novel. I think this is like her very first book, and oh my god, woman, please continue writing. You're an icon. This book is so amazing. Like, you have no idea. So it's like this dark fantasy romance. It is so amazing. I gave this 5 stars. And this book is like spicy. If I had to put like spicy meter, I'd maybe say, maybe like a 4. I think it's like a 4. A 4, almost a 5. So 4.5. I think it's like a 4.5. This book is a 5-star book, and it's 4.5 on like the spicy meter. Okay, so this book was sold as a darker version of Caraval. I have never read Caraval. I own the first book. I haven't read it because I like having the entire series before I read it, because if I get like hooked, I want to pick up the second one right away. And since I don't own it on Kindle, so I can't just like go and buy it right away, I want to buy the rest of the series before I read it. So I haven't read Caraval, but everybody sold this book as Caraval, you know. This girl, she goes into these like games and she has to win, and there's love and blah, 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 right? I mean, yeah, I get why it's sold as Caraval, but when you start reading it, the like challenges and the levels that the main character, her name is Ophelia, that Ophelia has to like go through are very Squid Game to me, because they're very gruesome. They're very drastic, they're very bloody, and people die in them. And I don't know, I haven't read Caraval, but Caraval is YA if I'm not mistaken. So I don't think that there's like any deaths during like the levels and stuff like that. And if they are, I don't think that they're as gruesome as they are in Phantasma. So it gave Squid Game vibes to me. And I love Squid Game, so yay. But basically, follow Ophelia and Genevieve. They are these necromancers. Necromancer means like wizard, magician. So they're from like a necromancer family, and their mother dies mysteriously one night, and Ophelia has to take over the legacy of her family's like necromance business, right? Ophelia Grimm is her last name. She's a Grimm, so she has to take over the Grimm legacy. However, a few days after her mother's death, the bank shows up and they're like, oh yeah, we're gonna take your house, because like your mother took out a loan and she didn't finish paying that loan, so now it's like your responsibility. So unless you give us $30,000 by the end of the month, we're gonna be taking away your house. So Genevieve, the younger sister, just disappears after that. She's gone. And so Ophelia is like, where the hell did this woman go? And so she starts looking for like clues of like, where's my sister? And she finds out that her sister has been obsessed with these games called Phantasma. And so she's like, oh my god, there are rumors that people don't make it out alive. What is her problem? So she goes to Phantasma. She gets enrolled into the games, and she's there. But she has to pass level 7 in order for her to go look for her sister. So she has to play for 7 goddamn levels until she can go see Genevieve. And that was always stressing. I was like, okay, you pass all of these 7 levels. What the hell makes you think your sister is gonna make it through? What if you get to level 7, you look for her, and some person is like, oh no, she's dead. And she never thought of that. She was just always very sure she was gonna find her. I'm not gonna spoil if she does or if she doesn't. But I was like, oh my god, Ophelia, get a grip. So she enrolls in this game, in these games. And the night before, she meets this person named Blackwell, and she's like, oh my god, he's super hot. And he's like trapped in Phantasma. He's like Danny Phantom, But he's trapped in Phantasma, and she was like, how can I help you? And he's like, oh, you have to find these things, but I don't think you will. And it would be better off if you never see me again. And she's like, okay. So she leaves. And then when she gets into Phantasma, she sees him again. And he's like, who the hell are you? And she's like, dude, we met at the cemetery last night. What do you mean, who the hell am I? And he's like, oh, I don't remember that, but like, you're hot. And they would have this, like, they weren't enemies, but they would bicker a lot. And it was just so amazing to watch their banter, because he was like very obviously, and I get that a lot of people don't like this, he was always making comments like about how hot she was, but it wasn't like disgusting or anything. And I just thought it was really funny because she would always answer with like an eye roll, and she'd be like, oh my god, this idiot. So she makes a deal with him. He will help her pass every level to get to level 7 and find her sister, and she will help him find these things that he needs in order to be freed from Phantasma. But the literal tagline of Phantasma is, I believe it's something in between the lines of oh my god, I always forget the name of the tagline. It was like something worse than being in the games is falling in love. It was something like that. I totally forgot the name of it. What is the tagline? I'm gonna look for the tagline because this is insane, because the tagline was amazing. I can't find the tagline, but it was something, I think it was, it's like there's something worse than losing the games is losing your heart or something like that. Yeah, so basically you can't fall in love in Phantasma, and of course Blackwell and Ophelia start falling in love. There was a plot twist, like 3 plot twists that I did not see coming. And oh my god, it was just like so angsty at some point, and like spicy. It was like super spicy. And I was like, oh my god, I love this. I ate it up. I finished it in 2 days. I filmed actually a vlog for that because it's like the book everybody's talking about right now. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna film a vlog about me reading this book. So I do spoil it. I'm so sorry. I feel like if I don't spoil, I can't really like talk about what I'm feeling. I will be uploading that video after I upload the wrap up. But oh my god, it was so amazing. It was so great. I finished that book in 2 days, and I was like, oh my god. Like, I started reading it, and I maybe got to like I read up until Ophelia was enrolled in Phantasma, which is like chapter 4 or something. And then the next day, I woke up and I read all freaking day. That is all I did. Read. It was amazing. It was legendary. It was momentary. And it was super necessary. I loved that book. It became one of my instant faves. Please read it. Check trigger warnings. And it's dark romantasy. So, you know. And I said, it's like Squid Game. So there is like morbid stuff, right? It's horror. Oh my god, I loved it. So yeah, I hope you liked this video. This was my October wrap up of all the books I read, as we just clearly saw. So yeah, I mean, I hope you like this video. If you do, subscribe and follow me for more content. I have an Instagram. It's _Paulina Reads, Paulina Reads. A lot of people don't know how to spell my name. So yeah, okay, great. I will see you next time for my Phantasma reading vlog. Bye, Bibliophiles. I love you.